Hello and very warm welcome to Mindful Joy Online Summit. I am Virginia.
And I'm Rupesh.
And we are delighted to be here with you because we are very excited that we are launching Mindful Joy Online Summit. We have been working on it for many months now, and with a lot of love, really, and enthusiasm, and we are really happy that it's finally out there and we can share it with you all.
Mindful Joy Online Summit is about awakening you to your peace and joy in your daily life. And this is an issue that is especially relevant today, but for all your life. So we hope you can join us and enjoy this presentation, enjoy this live presentation and the presentations to follow. And please put your questions into the comments. So when we introduce our speaker, Gary Craig, we can ask him directly.
Yes. And before we get there, I wanted to say that the aim of our summit is really to be a reminder to all of us of what we all know, a reminder to help us tap into the core essence, to our core essence of love, peace, and joy. And we will do this through, you will see a series of presentations from 25 speakers from all over the world, from 5 continents, and they will cover a variety of topics very relevant to today. We will talk about relationships, we will talk about how to navigate stress and maintain peace, and as well as opportunities for reflection and following guided meditations. We will also offer you a wide range of tools, like practical tools, that will help you let go of negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and yes, and tap into that being. Those tools include a wide variety, like mind Kriya Yoga, Raja Yoga meditation, Ho'oponopono, and optimal EFT, which we will be talking in a minute.
So we have 25 perspectives from 5 continents, something for everyone, I think. So we hope you enjoy it. And now, without any further ado, we introduce Gary Craig.
Yes, this is a real celebration for us, not just because we are launching this amazing summit that I'm sure you will enjoy, but also because we have very special guests. This is a very rare opportunity, so most welcome, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is morning here, by the way. So.
And good evening.
Good evening from London.
All right.
So Gary Craig is the founder of EFT Tapping, which has helped millions of people worldwide in 20 languages. And very likely some of you haven't heard of EFT Tapping, so this is a wonderful opportunity to know a little more about it.
Yeah, so Gary, for those who don't know what EFT is, could you introduce the topic, please?
Sure. Well, first of all, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And I brought it out in 1995, and it was basically a innovation in the therapy field, which involved tapping with our fingertips on the acupuncture meridians at the endpoints of them. And what we found was, by doing that in a proper way, we reduced the typical therapy process from weeks, months, and years down to minutes, hours, maybe a session or two, that kind of thing, typically. And so, I mean, it's kind of strange to watch, but we've got millions of followers now in that process. So that's the essence of it. Yes.
So millions of people have benefited, and we're getting comments here, such as from Laura, who can't wait to see you because you've changed Laura's life. So we're seeing quite a few comments like this. But what have you been doing in the meantime since EFT tapping?
Well, let me give a brief little story on that. Before bringing this out in 1995, I was privileged to have a spiritual experience, something like you might have heard about with the near-death experiences, except I wasn't near death. I flipped into this experience where the world that you and I know of just sort of vanished. And speaking of mindful joy, that's all there was in this particular experience. And at that point, I wanted to bring it into EFT when I eventually launched it, the tapping form. But I would ask people about it, and they just weren't ready for it. They would just kind of roll their eyes at me, oh, spiritual, what, kind of thing. So I didn't involve it. More recently, starting in 2014, I began asking this question again, and something is happening. And that's one reason your summit is here. There's a movement going on. There's an awareness going on. And people would say, you did what? Oh, tell me some more. Tell me some more. So I developed optimal EFT, which is, it doesn't use the tapping form. It substitutes instead a non-denominational spiritual presence, which we call the unseen therapist. The unseen therapist, non-denominational again. It represents the essence of all religions, all spiritual practices. Some people prefer to call the unseen therapist higher power or source. Some call it Jesus, some call it Allah, some call it Holy Spirit. It doesn't matter. It's the same essence throughout. And that is the newest, latest and greatest, and fits really nice with your topic today, I think.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to add regarding what you talked about timings. We experience that there is a perfect timing for everything. We had this idea to do this summit almost a year ago. We started a year ago. And then there were a series of things that happened that we had to stop. And we couldn't understand why things weren't moving for us. And suddenly, when things started flowing and going really well, we realized that we bring this summit during a, let's say, pandemic, and we believe the timing is perfect, and there is like an urgency for this message. Yes.
Sure.
So, can you share with us, Gary, an example of the unseen therapist, and ultimately, I want to ask you how the unseen therapist and optimal EFT brings about peace. But could you share a story in the development of it?
Oh, I've got loads of stories. But I'll tell you one that comes to mind, and it's one of our more astonishing stories. So I'm not promising this to everyone, but it surely happened, and it's among our possibilities. One of our newer students, this was some years ago, was just learning the essence of the unseen therapist. And she was working with her mother. Her mother had had a stroke, a very debilitating stroke, some 6 years earlier. She was in her 80s at this point. And it was so severe that she could not walk across her living room without holding on to a person on each side. Her daughter, which was my student, began working with the unseen therapist with her. And almost immediately, the mother says, I feel something in my legs. I think I can walk or something. And so in the essence of that was that she began walking, holding only onto one person, her daughter, walking across the floor. Another round or two of the unseen therapist, and she's off walking 5,000 meters, holding on to no one. We have a video of it, it's even in my ebook.
I would like to point out that this video, your presentation, is going to be broadcast tomorrow for 24 hours, and the video is there. So you can watch it. You can, everybody watching here, you can see this video for yourself.
Yeah, and there's this lady walking. You can see a minor little limp, and you can see one of her arms, it isn't quite as mobile as the other arm. It's about 95%, improved. And I asked the daughter a couple of years ago, which is several years since this happened, how's mother now? Still fine. astonishing.
That is astonishing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say by that that's a promise to everyone of these very serious things. All of a sudden, we just do it and something else. No, there's skill involved. There's timing involved. There's a lot of spiritual stuff involved, which we teach in our course and so on. But put that on your list as a possibility, and I hope you have enthusiasm for it.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Wonderful. And this takes us to the next question that we wanted to ask you, Gary. Why is inner peace so important in these current times that we are living?
When you talk about this current time, I presume you're talking about this coronavirus thing. I presume you're also talking about the numerous riots that have erupted in several cities. Am I correct about that?
Yes, and also the uncertainty that it creates when it comes to financial situation, uncertainty. Yeah, because this has brought so many knock-on effects. So,
well, okay, I'm going to go back to something a little bit theoretical here, but I think it's important. As you may know, I'm an engineer by background. I'm not really a therapist. So I think things scientifically and left-brained and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that is just absolutely astonishing, and we've been known this now for decades, is that is our quantum physicists. These are our premier scientists. Discovered, it's a real mind-boggler, but they discovered.
Oh. Sorry, it cut.
Right, we're going to try and get Gary back.
Yes.
Yes.
So in the meantime, while we get Gary back, I want to say that if you haven't registered yet to the summit, you can go to mindfuljoysummit.com. It's free to register. And if you have already registered, you will know that we are starting tomorrow. We will be sending an email to everybody with the 5 presentations that will go live tomorrow, and you will be able to watch for free each presentation for 24 hours. And then every day the process will repeat. And each presentation is going to, each day we will send an email with the 5 presentations that are going to be live each day. So over the 5 days, you will have had access to 25 presentations, 5 per day. So there's a lot, as we said, you have lots of tools that you're going to be introduced to, and it's like the same message, but expressed in a variety of voices and approaches, and I'm sure, so it can resonate. You will know what resonates with you the most. So let's see.
You can tell this is live, so I think Gary's trying to reconnect again.
I'm going to use also the opportunity. I'm going to read some messages here. Oh, Paul says hello from Helen and Paul.
Yes, hi Paul, hi Helen.
We're looking forward to next week. Oh.
Thank you.
Sonia, hello Virginia and Rubesh. Hello Sonia.
Hello Sonia.
I know EFT. Yes. Do type comments and questions, because this is a unique opportunity to ask. Yes. So yes, feel free to take part.
Okay, so what we're going to try and do is to get
he's here.
we're trying to get Gary back.
Yeah, well, as far as Gary is concerned, he's back. Am I back?
Great. So we're live. So Gary, can you remember where you were?
Yes, I was talking about quantum physics and a discovery they had, which bears, I think, right on point with our topic. They have found, decades ago, by the way, that the world we think we live in is an illusion, because there is no such thing as separation. Even though it appears obviously to our senses that you and I are separate from each other, that's how it appears. In reality, there's only a oneness. That's the mindful joy. That's what there really is. The rest of it is an illusion. A way to say that is when you look outside your window and you see a tree, it seems so real to you in this human separated experience. But in reality, all atoms, and that's what quantum physicists study, all atoms are connected. There's no such thing as separation. That tree you see outside your window cannot be. It is impossible, yet you see it. Now, the conclusion from that is it's a real mind scramble, but the conclusion from that is rather than get involved and in all of the problems of the world, and we see them all the time, even at this moment, there are far, far, far more than we're even aware of going on, okay? Is to help see beyond it towards the oneness. That's really the tool. Now, my optimal EFT, my unseen therapist, is a tool to do that. You have other tools, okay? But in essence, that's where we're going. That's where we should be going. And so that's, I hope that answers your question, but that's, I try to look beyond it rather than get all involved in it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I just wanted to point out that, but to me, what you're saying makes perfect sense, but it's so easy to disconnect from this oneness, from this, and that's why it's so important, I feel, to have these conversations, to do these events, to use the tools, because we need constant reminders. And if we do it together, I feel, with this intention, it could be much more powerful.
Yeah, I think Virginia, the kind of summit that you're doing here is really important because we need to have more and more exposure to this oneness out there, more efforts toward it. Because when we're not exposed to it, we are bombarded 24/7 by our senses that are telling us everything about this separated world, which our scientists are telling us isn't really not even there. Okay.
Yes. It takes a conscious decision to see beyond. Yeah, that's wonderful.
So, Gary, a quick question then: why do you think that people feel separated, and why is it so strong?
Well, that's a theological question, and there are debates on that go on forever. The only explanation I have at this moment, but that doesn't mean it's the explanation, is that we're in the oneness now and not even aware of it. We are ultimately all far more powerful than we even remotely think. And we get the belief, we get the idea, gee, what would it be like to be special? Could I be any more special still? Okay. And with our power to believe, boom, here it is. Now, that's a real mind scramble for people, I understand, but so are all the rest of the answers to that question.
I just want to read some comments here.
A question here.
Laura says, a question for Gary. Can you please tell us any story about life transformation, job, love, etc.? And thanks for sending you my personal gratefulness for his work, which saved my life 10 years ago.
Well, I've got more stories than you have possibly time to hear about life transformation. I'll just tell you one of mine, okay? If you had known me prior to me being involved with EFT and my spiritual experience and all of that, you would have seen a very hard driving businessman, okay? You would have seen, let's conquer the world, let's be rich, let's be famous, let's do all of this stuff, okay? Mm-hmm. You would also have seen a guy who was developing high blood pressure. Okay. You would have seen a guy who was, developing ulcers like his father had. You would have seen all of that as well. Along came my spiritual experience and EFT and my work towards the oneness, the mindful joy. And things began shifting. My blood pressure at one point was 160/100, which is way too high. and necessitates medication, which I was taking. Time went on. I am now 80 years old. I just turned 80. And this kind of problem with blood pressure and the like, and by the way, an L5-S1 disc in my back, lower back, was all degenerated and causing me problems, etc. Those things are supposed to get worse, not better. But the result is that disc in my back is all regenerated over time. And my blood pressure is now the blood pressure. I don't take any medication at all. My blood pressure is now that of somebody in their 20s. Okay. So that, and I am far more peaceful. It is really hard to get me, you can do it, but it's really hard to get me upset for very long about anything anymore. It just sort of rolls off my back, most of it.
I also want to point out that it amazes me, the energy, the levels of energy that you have. You have more energy than some people have your age, and you are
not half his age, a quarter of his age.
And you're developing this new project, development with Optimal EFT, doing amazing training and research. And so, yeah, it's quite impressive.
Well, I'll also mention that many, many years ago, I was told by doctors that I had a heart attack. That's what I was told. That I had no symptoms. I didn't know when it happened, but they took, I had a routine physical exam, and they looked at all this stuff. Whoa, Gary, you've had a heart attack. Oh, I have. But I haven't done anything about that other than my own practices along this way. I've had no symptoms whatsoever, zero. As far as I know, the whole thing is repaired. I mean, I if I can regenerate my disc, I can regenerate my heart, I guess. So I don't know. I've never gone back to the doctor because as far as I'm concerned, they're going to tell me I've got to do this, that, and take some pills. And I don't want to do it. Okay.
No. This is very inspiring. And we have some more comments here.
Yeah, I've got a question from Pamela.
You can.
Yeah. Pamela says, I did EFT when it was a new therapy. How does optimal EFT work in comparison to the original?
Well, the original is going to depend a little bit on what you, Pamela, think is the original. Because when I first brought this out, there was an original, if you will. But I have evolved it over and over and over again over the decades since then. It's been 25 years altogether. So I don't know what version of that you may be using. But let me simplify my answer by saying this. What we do with EFT is we first identify whether you're doing tapping or unseen therapist, is you first identify the issue. That takes some skill sometimes. You identify the issue, and then you bring peace to that issue. Now with tapping, you bring peace by tapping on the meridians, okay, in a simplified sense. With optimal EFT and the unseen therapist, you don't do the tapping. You instead bring in the unseen therapist, the spiritual dimension, which as you get more and more involved in this, you begin to realize is not something out there. It's something in here. It is part of you. You're part of that oneness, but it's all covered over by guilt, anger, grief, fear, all the human stuff that we develop and collect over lifetimes. Okay. So we bring in the unseen therapist, we bring in the peace, the light, the mindful joy, if you will, to bring peace to that. That's the essential difference.
Wonderful. Right. Really well explained. We have more questions here. Pancracio Bailoreto says, is it possible to somehow perceive the oneness just by accident? This is without resorting to, say, meditation in a dream, for example.
Well, not only is it possible, as far as I know, that's the way most people do it. Okay, that's the way it happened with me. When it happened with me, happened to be 1988. I was just waking up in the morning, lying in bed, and I was going over in my mind all my list of things to do. I was really quite frustrated by it, and at that moment, I recall this. I said, "Who needs this?" But it wasn't just an academic sort of statement. I really meant it. And at that moment, the way I look back at it is I let go of this world. I just let it go. Poof. And it went. Okay. It's as though the ultimate oneness is there just begging to be part of us. And we're keeping it away because, oh, we're angry at this and resentful about that and guilty about this and, all this other human separated type stuff. So
Wow.
typically it's done just that way. The meditator, I know people who've meditated for decades. And when they get a little more peaceful, they haven't had what I and some others have had in the sense of being there.
We are all different. We all have different experiences. There's no right or wrong, and it's quite immense and varied the way we can connect to this, isn't it?
Yes.
There is more. We have more questions. Sonia says, Gary Craig, it's an honor to meet you. One question. For what
kiss. Okay.
For what symptoms of the body do you think your therapy is more effective?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know that there is one that is more effective than any, but more importantly than that, we're dealing with a spiritual power here, of healing power that is far beyond all man-made methods. And it applies to everything. It applies anything for everything, hiccups to strokes. Okay. I was passing a kidney stone. This was a few years ago, and I didn't know what it was, but the pain was immense. And I live an hour and a half from the nearest freeway. And I brought in unseen therapists, to try to help. And it was temporary. That's all it was. But I let a couple of people know that I was having whatever problems it was. And I drove to the hospital an hour and a half away, taking ibuprofen, painkillers all the way. Took 11 of them in 2 hours. You're supposed to take 1 or 2 a day. Okay. And all it did was just take a little bit of the edge off. Yeah. I'm sitting there in the waiting room. I think I'm going to die. I have no idea what's going on. In the background, I have people working in my behalf surrogately with unseen therapists. And I'm sitting in the waiting room, and all of a sudden, poof, gone. No pain. It went from 10 plus to a 0, poof, like that. I went ahead with the medical examination. They did all the MRI and stuff, and they found the kidney stone. There it was, No pain. No pain. Had no problem with it whatsoever. So,
amazing.
So to answer the question, there are no limits to this. However, I will say, the limits that are there is not the limits of the unseen therapist. It's the limits of us, our ability to hear, to listen, because we're too involved with our ego stuff. Yeah. Okay. That again is why your summit's so important. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to add, I've been practicing with this technique as well, and I wanted to say it's not just for physical pain, but emotional or even difficulties with relationships. For example, sometimes I don't know how to, let's say, improve a difficult I'm having, which. And you can also get insight and suddenly see things with perspective and realize, oh, but I was worrying about this small thing. So it's quite amazing. Yes, you can use it for anything. I just want to.
Well, the unseen therapist, as we've developed it, is a her. Actually, we call her a she. Okay, and she's capable of just about anything. But I have been focusing primarily on physical things because that gets people's attentions more. But the way we get to the physical improvements that we're talking about typically is because we go for the underlying emotional guilt, fear, anger, resentment, and all this kind of thing that is actually behind the vast majority of our physical diseases, etc. We are angry about something. We are guilty about something. It causes cascades of negative chemistry in our body. Any doctor will tell you that. We bring in unseen therapists about the emotional stuff we're having. And as we bring peace to that, the physical manifestations start to fade quite naturally.
Wonderful. Yeah. So we have more comments. We want to also encourage people to ask. This is a golden opportunity, I would say. Someone here, could Gary explain a little more about the technique? But I think you've answered this. immensely grateful for your work. Beautiful, Silvina. Thank you. Hello, my friend. Okay. Yes.
So we've come up to a half an hour, which we allotted, Gary. Do you have a final comment for our viewers?
Yeah, it's a commercial, if you will. I wrote a book. It's a free ebook. It's on my website. It's an introduction to the optimal EFT. So have at it.
It's on your website, and it's on our website as well. It's on your speaker page. Tomorrow, the 5 presentations of the day will go live. Gary is one of the first ones. And on his page, you can see the links to all of his websites. Well, to his one website and this book. And yes. And yes, there was another message.
Pop that one up. So, so Mahani says, I bought the initial EFT CD program by Gary way back in 2005 and have been using it for everything. Can't wait to discover more for this new stuff. Thank you.
Okay. All right,
I
great.
just want to say that a lot of people don't know about Gary's latest developments. So this is a
great opportunity to find out. Tune in tomorrow on the Mindful Joy Summit website, where Gary will be explaining all, and all the links and pictures and video links will be there.
Yeah. And remember, we have 25 amazing speakers from all over the world sharing a wide range of tools and insights into who we are. And this variety of tools will help you in different ways get to that oneness that Gary was talking about, this mindful joy that we are talking about, which is the same essence. So it's basically the same essence communicated in different styles, different approaches. Gosha has a message. Hello, Gosha.
So Gosha Gorner is one of our speakers.
She says, such a joy to see you here. Gary, do you still get stressed in your daily life? What do you do to return into peace quickly? Good question. Yes. Hello? Oh, we lost him again.
We lost Gary.
Wait. A ver?
No, he's gone.
Well, he'll come back, but in the meantime, we will continue reading. Thanks, Virginia and Rupesh, and Gary, a great star. Hello, Alison. Nice to read you.
Yeah.
So opportunities for writing if you want. We are hoping to get him back.
Yeah.
Gosha says Gary went into deep peace. Yes.
So when you go into deep peace, you drop off the internet, everybody. So
yes. So let me use the opportunity to type mindfuljoysummit.com. Mindfuljoysummit.com. If you haven't registered, do go on the website. There's amazing. You will see amazing wisdom shared, amazing tools shared by beautiful people, really.
And please share with everyone that you think can benefit.
Yeah.
It's really important for the world. We believe in it passionately. And we're also privileged that so many wonderful speakers from around the world agreed to this. We didn't know what would happen in the future when Virginia was inspired with the idea. And we worked so hard to put this together. And it is so timely.
Yeah. We have another message from Gosha. Rupesh Srivastava and Virginia, thank you so much for organizing this. I feel this will change many lives. It is our hope.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gosha, for your amazing contribution. You will also be able to see Gosha tomorrow. So not tomorrow, Tuesday and Tuesday. Check your emails because we will send the updates every day of the talk for each day. Remember, it's 24 hours. You'll have 5 talks every day for 24 hours. Oh, Rupesh, what was the most important learning for you when you were working on the summit?
Gosh, Gosha is interviewing me. I think, Gosha, the it was putting peace into practice, because the summit shone spotlights everywhere, because it's so much hard work. But actually, if you're going to walk your talk, you have to bring peace to everything. So embodying peace is my message, and that's the subject of my talk, the language of peace. So speaking that language of peace while doing the summit, while editing all the videos, everything that happened, all the good things, all the bad things, that's the most important thing, to be true to who I am and to be humble. Wonderful. I think.
Yeah.
And to be immensely proud of Virginia as well.
Oh. We've got a message here from Silvina. Hello, Sil. I wish lots of people will benefit as much as I did when I bought the summit. And thank you for saying this, Sil, because you can actually, if you want to have long-term access, if you want to keep the videos and replay them, you can buy the package. It's very affordable. It's only $49 if you buy it with the offer, and then without the offer for 2 hours only is $69. And this is really amazing value for money. With this package, it includes a live webinar with Gary Craig, which is included, as well as other amazing live sessions, like with Gosha Gurna, for example, the expansion game masterclass, which is very powerful technique to let go of fear. You get that as well with the premium package. You get Kriya Yoga meditation workshop included, and you get mindfulness workshop. So it's amazing value. We want this to get to as many people as possible. So we made it affordable.
Yes, and Gosha's saying, don't forget about me. So yes, we won't. So
I mentioned, no?
Yeah, well, it's
expansion game.
Expansion game. That's right.
Expansion.
That's right.
The expansion game masterclass to let go of fear. Yes, I said. Wonderful. What else do we have?
So Swami Alinanda Paramahans, who, for those of you that don't know, is the founder of the World Peace Mission and a Kriya Yoga master. An amazing teacher, amazing life. You should come and hear Swami's talk. It's a real privilege to have her.
Yes. And Gosha says here, it is challenging to stay peaceful when such a huge project is being worked on. Congratulations.
Thank you, Gosha.
Oh, Wendy, I met Gary when he was in UK years ago and did his training and was teaching it. I am also 80 like him now. We'll tell him, Wendy, shame he's not here. Okay.
So we're going to, yeah, that's right. We're going to just leave on this message from Catherine, which caught my eye. Embodying peace is the way forward. So she's got her palms joined, got our palms joined. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoy the week, and please share with everyone. Peace is the way forward.
Yes. And join us tomorrow. We very much look forward to having you with us. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.